download our Revise It Right revision app for hundreds of videos, quizzes, exam questions, tutor support and so much more. This video is about concentration of solutions. Now, before we get into looking at what we mean by concentration and by calculating concentration, we first need to be able to convert between decimeters and centimeters. So a decimeter is described and written as dm cubed, and it is 1,000 centimeters cubed. Okay, so to convert between the two, so to convert between centimeters cubed and decimeters cubed, you have to divide it by 1,000. Okay, so from centimeters cubed to decimeters cubed, we divide it by 1,000. And to get from decimeters cubed to centimeters cubed, we therefore have to times it by 1,000. So let's go through a worked example. We have 200 centimeters cubed. So 200 centimeters cubed. We want to convert that into decimeters cubed. So look, so we have centimeters cubed. To get to decimeters, we need to divide it by 1,000. So 200 divided by 1,000 gives you 0.2 decimeters cubed. So 200 centimeters cubed is equal to 0.2 decimeters cubed. Let's do one more. We have 10 decimeters cubed and we want to convert it into centimeters cubed. So how do we do that? Well, to get from decimeters cubed to centimeters cubed, we have to times by 1,000. So we do 10 times by 1,000, which is here, and that obviously gives us 10,000. Okay, so it gives us 10,000 centimeters cubed. So just remember that to get from centimeters cubed to decimeters cubed, we divide by 1,000, and to get from decimeters cubed to centimeters cubed, we have to times it by 1,000. Now, concentration of a solution tells us how much of a substance there is dissolved in the water. So a high concentration means lots of substance dissolved in the water, and a low concentration means less substance dissolved in the water. So if I were to do a couple of examples, so draw a couple of examples here. Now we have two solutions, two bits of water here, beakers of water that are the exact same volume. Okay, and then we're going to dissolve some sugar into this one, and we're also going to dissolve some sugar into this one. Okay, now here in this example here, there are more sugar particles in the volume, therefore here there is a higher concentration of dissolved sugar in the beaker, and here there is less sugar particles than in this one here, so there is a lower concentration of dissolved sugar in the beaker. Okay, so a high concentration means lots of the substance dissolved, like here, and a low concentration means less of the substance dissolved, like here. Remember to download our Revise It Right revision app, watch over 700 videos, answer 4,000 plus quiz questions, over 1,000 flashcards, 1,000 exam questions, worksheets, forums, and get help from qualified teachers, and so much more. The link is in the description. Now, in the previous slide, I just said that concentration depends on two things, okay? The volume of the liquid, the volume of the water, and the amount of stuff, so the mass that you find in it. And therefore, they can be linked by this equation. So concentration, which is measured in grams per decimeters cubed, is equal to mass, which is measured in grams, divided by volume, which is measured in decimeters cubed. Okay, so let's go through a worked example of how we're going to answer one of these questions. So we have 43 grams of sodium chloride dissolved in 500 centimeters cubed of water. What is the concentration? Well, as ever, I first like to write down what I've been given. So 43 grams of sodium chloride, so therefore the mass is equal to 43 grams. And dissolved in 500 centimeters cubed of water. So the volume is 500 centimeters cubed. Okay, however, you'll see that our volume needs to be in decimeters cubed. So we do need to convert our centimeters cubed to decimeters cubed. And you remember in the first slide that to get from centimeters cubed to decimeters cubed, we need to divide it by 1,000. So 500 divided by 1,000 gives us 0.5 decimeters cubed. So our mass is 43 and our volume is 0.5 decimeters cubed. Now once we've done that, we can just put it into our equation. Concentration is equal to the mass, which is 43, divided by the volume, which is 0.5. Therefore our concentration is equal to 86. Now don't forget the units, grams per decimeters cubed. So let's go through another example. So using 83 grams of solute, how much water is needed to make 34 grams per decimeters cubed solution? So let's write first of all, as I always like to do, what we know. So the mass is 83 grams. And this time it's actually given us the concentration. So the concentration is equal to 34 grams per decimeters cubed. And therefore what it wants us to work out in this scenario is the volume. Okay, so we can then put the numbers that we know into our equation. So concentration is 34, so 34 equals the mass, which is 83, and then divided by the volume, which is what we're trying to work out. So divided by, we'll put V for volume. Okay, so what we need to do then is we need to make this volume on its own. We need to make it the subject of the formula. So what we can do is we can move the volume over to this side, and because it's a divide over here, it will become a times over here. So 34 times volume equal to 83. And then to get the volume on its own, we can put the 34 over this side, and because it's a times over here, it will become a divide. So volume equals 83 divided by 34. Then all we need to do is we need to put this figure into our calculator. So 83 divided by 34, and the volume is therefore equal to 2.4 to one decimal place, and the volume's units are dm cubed, so the answer is there, 2.4 d or decimeters cubed. So what we'd now like you to do is have a go at answering these questions here, and we will go through the answers together. So pause the video now. Okay, so question 1, it wants us to convert the below to decimeters cubed. So we know that to get from centimeters to decimeters cubed, we need to divide it by 1,000. Okay, so we do the first one, 10 divided by 1,000, and the answer is 0.01 decimeters cubed. And again, to get from 100 to decimeters cubed, we need to do 100 divided by 1,000, which gives us 0.1 decimeters cubed. Okay, so question 2 is about calculating the concentration. Okay, so let's get our equation. Concentration, okay, in grams per decimeters cubed is equal to mass in grams divided by volume in decimeters cubed. So question 1, 40 grams of solute in 350 centimeters cubed. Okay, so we have a mass of 40 and a volume of 350 centimeters cubed, but to get that into decimeters cubed, which we need to do, we need to divide it by 1,000. So we do 350 divided by 1,000, and we get 0.35 decimeters cubed. We can now put these in our equation. So concentration is equal to the mass, which is 40, divided by volume, which is 0.35. So 40 divided by 0.35, and we get a concentration of 114.3 grams, if we round it up to one decimal place, grams per decimeters cubed. And then question B in this particular one, so we have a mass of 100 grams, and again we have a concentration of 77, but it's given it to us in centimeters cubed, so we need to convert that. So 77 divided by 1,000 gives us 0.077 decimeters cubed. And we can write that into our equation. So concentration is equal to 100, which is the mass, divided by 0.077, which is the concentration. So 100 divided by 0.077, and we get 1,298.7 grams per decimeters cubed. Now, if you got those two wrong, maybe you forgot to convert your units. So do make sure you are converting the units. Okay, so final question, question 3. Using 83 grams of solute, how much water is needed to make 0.1 grams per decimeter cubed solution? Okay, so here we have the mass, which is 83, and we have been given the concentration, which is 0.1 grams per decimeters cubed. Okay, so what we need to work out therefore is the volume. So 0.1, which is the concentration, is equal to 83 divided by volume. Okay, to convert that, we can do volume is equal to 83 divided by 0.1. So we're going to put that on our calculator, 83 divided by 0.1, and we get 830. And our volume is dm cubed. So 830 dm cubed should be your answer to that one. So we've now looked at concentration of solutions, we've looked at how to convert between centimetres and decimeters cubed, we've looked at what we mean by concentration, and we've looked at the equation to work out concentration. You can now answer the quiz questions and exam questions. If there's anything you need help on, then please do get into contact with one of our tutors who will be happy to help.